So what got me started? It's been a while. Been since like 2012. I think I had mentioned to you before Instagram, before the internet. Really, I was reading magazines. I was reading Oxygen, Hers, Muscle and Fitness, and just like seeing these muscular women, and that was something I always aspired to be. I'd walk into a gym and be like, "Oh, I want to look like her. She looks so great." And thinking back, I don't even know what these women at the time looked like. They probably looked a lot less muscular than me, but that was just how that was the physique I was always aspiring to have. I was athletic in school and things like that when I was younger. So, I was now in my like late 20s, early 30s. I've been training in the gym and everything, but I never really knew that bodybuilding was actually something that was attainable to a normal person. Like I thought it was something that was just like out there, like, professional sports or whatever. So I think when I first found out that there was like actually local shows, I decided to go to a local show, all natural. I think it was an OCB show or something. I was like, wow, like I could do that. Like, why couldn't I do that? So then I had just had that idea in my mind. And I think at that time I had two kids. They were young. I think my youngest was just about like a year and a half old at that time. So that was two out of five of my kids I had then. Yeah. So, and then I started training in the gym and I decided, I was like, wow, this is actually within my reach. I found a bodybuilding coach that was local to me back then. And I jumped in and did my first natural INBF show as a figure competitor in 2012. And it was just an experience. It was awesome. So I stuck with it for a couple of years doing the INBF. And then eventually kind of got a little bit tired of the dieting and everything, trying to balance being a mom on top of all of that at the time. So I took a break from that, and lots of different things changed in my life at that time. And I went into the world of strength and powerlifting, so it was a little bit easier because there wasn't the back then it was difficult because it was all brand new to me. I was learning how to do a lot of things at the same time. I was learning how to track my macros accurately. I was learning how to balance, like, how do I think I was working a full-time job at the time too. Like, how do I balance working full-time, going to the gym? I had to go at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And then right after I was done working, get the kids, bring them home, do the whole, nighttime routine with them. It was a lot. So it was just, there was a lot going on, and it was challenging, but I think that's what I liked about it too. At the same time, was the challenge. I was married to someone else back then. He was not best, but he wasn't unsupportive. He let me do it, but it wasn't as supportive as my current husband is now. This time around, it was been much easier. So I took like an 8 year, so 2014, yeah, about an 8, 9 year. I took a 9 year break from it because I got back on the stage in 2023. So at that time, I was married again, and I had three more children. So I had a lot of lifetime experience behind me going into that next season. Probably gonna see a couple of them, right? Yep, yep. There's one. There's two. The youngest I have are twins that are 6, boy girl twins. I have an 8-year-old, and then the older two are 15 and 16. Older ones really easy. The little ones are they're still very needy, and they're in first grade. So we got the whole school and sports and all that going on too. 2023. Actually, when I competed back then, I did do what did they call it? It was a version of their version of women's physique, but you wore heels back then. It was something like that. But you wore heels and like you did the physique poses in the INBF. I actually did better in that division too when I did it the last couple of years. And then going into 2023, it was WPD, women's physique division, and I went to nationals last year, and I was like, well, why not try bodybuilding? Give me more opportunities to try for my pro card and like see where I fit better. So I've kind of always had that issue with like which division does my body structure fit into. So going into last year, I did both. I did better in women's physique. And then this year going in, I did a lot better in bodybuilding and not as well in women's physique. So the feedback when I got my pro card was like, yeah, you're not built for physique, you're built for bodybuilding. So here I am. And I think physique wise too, it's just from what I was told, like what I was doing, I needed to just adjust my posing because of my body structure. Because I'm very muscular and I'm wider from the front. So they were telling me to like, I had to try and make myself look smaller in women's physique. I'm like, I don't want to look small. I want to look big, So that was part of the reason why they were like, bodybuilding is better for you. So I mean, it is what it is. You never know. I didn't leave prejudging, knowing like, oh, I had to have had gotten first because what happened with that particular show is I was in the center the entire time during prejudging until the very end. They switched me, so it was a little bit confusing. I was like, well, I was really in the first place spot the whole time, so I kind of thought I had it, but then I was like, I don't know why they switched. So I mean, obviously disappointed getting second, but at the same time, it was like, well, I'm just not. It's just not my time yet. I knew my time was coming, and it was very close, which is why we just pushed and did North Americans anyway. North Americans was actually the show I started to prep for. So when I did USA's, I had only been prepping for about 11 weeks. And we were like, let's just go for it. Like, I'm a fast responder. I was already pretty conditioned. So we just jumped into that show because they had, primarily because women's physique was top two for Pro Card. That was one of the drivers to go there. But the original plan was always North Americans. So it was okay. So I've been online since 2021, but I was in person for a long time before that. I was a pre-K teacher. That was what I have my degree in. That was what I was doing for a very long time. And then my husband and I opened a gym in 2015. So we were open from 2015 to 2020. And then after that is when I started to go online. Amazing, amazing. I was, obviously I was manifesting in that happening for a very long time and going out to do the overall. And that's the thing with that particular show, and a lot of other shows too with women's bodybuilding. You have to win the overall, not just your class. So I was the class winner in women's 40 plus and women's 35, and I went to the overall 40 plus, and I didn't get that overall. So going into 35, I was like, this is it. Like, this is my pro card. Nail these poses. The things that mantra I was telling myself as on stage. So standing there waiting to get it, I knew it was mine. I knew they were going to say my name. So of course, it was very happy, and I was relieved that they did. It was very exciting. It was overwhelming, actually, and an overwhelming feeling of like, wow, I actually did it. That picture right over there, Matt. If you go over to your right, you'll see the picture of me with the other ladies. He's in the center. To your or what direction you're going into? Yep, right there. That's my coach, Matt. So I'm actually a coach on his team as well. So I coach athletes for competitions, and I do lifestyle coaching. So this was a bunch of us. I was the only bodybuilder. I was out angling all those little bikini girls in that photo, obviously. Worked with him for the past almost 2 years, I'd say. I was his first women's physique competitor, first women's bodybuilder. I'm his only women's bodybuilder, so that's a cool achievement for him that he was able to turn me pro without really having experience with women bodybuilders before. So he did a great job. We've learned a lot. Him and I have learned a lot about everything together, so it's been really awesome. It's not easy, not at all. You just have to continue going. Like, you just have to do it. If you really want it, obviously, if you don't really want it, don't do it. And that's the mindset. It's like, do you really want it? You have to have that strong why. And you just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. It's, the balance between everything, especially where I have so many different pieces, family, kids, business. It's so hard to keep it all together. But every day it was just like, okay, we're going to repeat the same process over again. And if there's things I messed up on, I'll try and fix those things. But every day we're just moving forward. So it takes a lot of planning, balance, and a lot of support. You have to have support. I can't imagine doing this by myself. The support of my teammates, my coach, my husband. I don't think it's really possible to do it all by yourself if you have lots going on. The only thing they said I really needed to work on was my back. Just getting more depth in my back. Last year, they told me I need to grow more wide because I came from a powerlifting background. I wasn't really isolating lats that often. So we did that in the off season. We grew my back wider, but it still is missing that, like, the depth portion of it. So that's the mission before we get on the pro stage, is really get that back nice and thick and deep. But other than that, like, my conditioning was on point. They were very impressed with my lower body. So all of that was good. That's what they say. Shows are won from the back. And honestly, like, my back is okay, but I think what pulls out my back pose and separates me from others is I have really strong glutes, hamstrings, calves, like the whole lower body is there, and it's good size, it's quality muscle. It's dense, it's very conditioned. So the little bit that I'm missing from the upper back, I think I'm making up in the bottom. Oh, love hate. I mean, I love a good shoulder workout because I can get a massive pump. I feel good doing it. I look good doing it. And then I would say legs are that love hate, like quads, love hate. I love to push legs, but at the same time, that's the hardest day of the week is quad day. I'm pushing that heavy weight, and I usually train quads with my coach Matt, which makes it 10 times harder because he's pushing me even more than I'd be pushing myself. That's his phrases like, we ain't taking off shit, 5 more, and then I'll do 5, no, 2 more. So yeah, he definitely pushes me and he makes me very tired. But it's good because I have seen tremendous growth since, working with him. So it's working. I don't think it's so much the time spent in the gym. I think like especially during prep, it's the time, it's the energy that I'm lacking to spend with them. And take them to do stuff. I'm just way too tired. But all of my kids think it's so cool. Like the achievement I have of being an IFBB pro. I came home from the airport from North Americans and they were holding up signs like IFBB pro. The little ones are super excited. They watch the live stream. So they're really excited about it and they're into it. They went to an amateur show that was local that I did before that where I won 2 classes, so they really love it. Honestly, I was thinking a lot about like the sacrifices I made, like time wise, financially wise, not doing things with my kids over the summer because I was prepping. I was like, I need to do that. I'm achieving this for them. This has to be worth it in the end for them. Um, because it made me feel like guilty that I wasn't, participating and being as present as I should have feel like I should have been as a mom, over the past 4 months or whatever. So a lot that's the mantras and the thoughts that were going through my head as I was hitting those poses was like, you got to fucking perfect this. You got to get that pro card. You got to make it all worth it. Especially like traveling to California, then traveling to Pittsburgh and, the financial cost of it. And then just missing time with the family and, putting the burden on my husband to be taking care of the kids all the time. And it was just, I need to do this. I need to make this completely worth it and check this box, because I can't leave things undone. And I think that's I had to finish the season with and get that pro card. No matter what it took, if it took me waiting until December and competing again, I probably would have tried. I really just wanted to achieve that goal and kind of check it off my list. That I went into this thing with the intent on getting my pro card, and I finally got it. But it was a lot. It was very hard, challenging, but again, without the support, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I wanted to make sure that I was making it worth it to everybody, so everyone would be like, okay, cool, she did it, and it was worth it. Yeah, and I don't even think they remember. Honestly, now they're beyond it, and they're happy that their mom's a pro. But yeah, just gonna give myself enough time to grow and get into that division and see how competitive I can be in it. Yeah, we definitely are a little bit different. I haven't seen a lot of like negativity in real life, like in person. It's all just been on the internet. It's just the internet trolls with like a cat as a profile picture and no followers, that are gonna throw some hate on my posts and whatever. I've thick skin to handle that. But I haven't really dealt with anything in real life. So everyone have encountered in real life is impressed and is supportive of it. It's so plain, so basic, but that's what works. It's ground turkey, chicken, beef, fish, and rice, sweet potatoes. That's pretty much it. Oatmeal, eggs, egg whites. But I've always eaten like that, so it doesn't bother me. So whether I'm in prep or I'm in the off season, I'm eating the same. It's just the quantities are different. So I eat very simple, very plain. Once in a while, I'll go out and have a burger. I really love chocolate, so that's like my off season. I have some chocolate here and there, but it's pretty basic. Nothing exciting about my diet at all.